I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Right.
Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
Anyone claiming that America's economy is in decline is peddling fiction.
I've abandoned free market principles to save the free market system.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
Raising the debt ceilings does not increase our debt. It does not somehow promote profligacy.
I know words. I have the best words. Nobody knows the system better than me, which is why I alone can fix it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Happy Friday. This is the Peddling Fiction Podcast, and I'm your host, the voice and soul of so-called fiction, Johnny Profita. And back with me, of course, is the one and only Justin Hillbilly Boy Campbell. How goes it?
Good. We actually might need to talk about next week. I don't know if I'll be available next week. Tuesday, I got a call back from the gastroenterologist, and originally my appointment was with the gastroenterologist was going to be in October 2nd, I think it was. Anyway, they got an opening next week, so I'm going in on Tuesday to have a meeting with the gastroenterologist, and could very possibly be getting this fixed by the end of next week. So I might be out entirely next week. We'll see. I'll update you on Tuesday. The appointment's in the morning, so I may still be able to do Tuesday afternoon, but I might end up being out Friday and for a few days after that.
Okay. Well, we'll figure it out. It's my birthday week. Maybe I should take the whole week off, right? That's what those bitches do, isn't it? It's my birthday week. Well, hopefully it'll be a little less of a story week than the last two have been, because man, every other day there's just a fucking bombshell of a story. And if you thought we were gonna be able to completely avoid talking about Charlie Kirk today, you would have been wrong. But I guess we can get some of the more boring economic stuff out of the way before we get into all the Jimmy Kimmel stuff. We had the first rate cut in, God, how long has it been? Probably since like since the COVID era. I mean, they were hiking rates for a while, then they just paused, and Trump had been berating Powell and the whole Fed about cutting rates because he thinks the economy needs it. Really, the government needs it because they're in debt way past their eyeballs. Like, in debt up to my eyeballs it doesn't even apply anymore. We're so far fucking in debt. We're spending over $1 trillion now a year on debt service, and like we've been talking about, they've been running these essentially adjustable rate mortgages with the national debt, rolling over longer term debt at low rates for shorter term debt at even lower rates. But now all that debt's coming due, and the rates were at 4.5 or 4.25 to 4.5%. And the Fed just gave us a 25 basis point rate cut Wednesday. Yeah. So let's just hear what Paul has to say.
My colleagues and I remain squarely focused on achieving our dual mandate goals of maximum employment and stable prices for the benefit of the American people. While the unemployment rate remains low, it has edged up. Job gains have slowed and downside risks to employment have risen. At the same time, inflation has risen recently and remains somewhat elevated. In support of our goals and in light of the shift in the balance of risks, today the Federal Open Market Committee decided to lower our policy interest rate by 1/4 percentage point. We also decided to continue to reduce our securities holdings.
Yeah, so I did listen to a little more of what he had to say, and there were some interesting questions. But at one point, somebody did ask him, "Do you think this 25 basis point cut is going to do anything?" And his answer was essentially no. It's almost like a symbolic cut to sort of shift what people perceive the mentality of the Fed to be. So it's like, instead of the Fed being like, "Oh yeah, we're going to raise rates or keep them steady," it's like, now we're on a different trajectory of lowering rates over time, and they're still predicting 1 or 2 more rate cuts this year. I honestly don't think. I mean, maybe they'll get 1 more. I don't know, dude. 2 more cuts before the end of the year seems a little ridiculous to me, when he didn't even really want to do this one. And we shouldn't have gotten. I mean, if anything, we should be raising rates. Inflation is well above the 2% target that they've arbitrarily selected. It's far more above 2% than it ever was below 2%. So that whole like, oh, we need to be above it for a while to balance out all the time we were below it, that's gone out the window. It's creeping up. Unemployment. I mean, there was another question about the unemployment numbers, because they had a 900,000 job revision, downward revision to the jobs reports. And every single, every time he gets out there, he's talking about, oh, the job market is strong. The job market is strong. So we're basing our decisions off of this data, and it all gets revised away, like the biggest revisions we've ever had. And it turns out all the data that they were using to figure out their strategy, I guess, for interest rates, it was all bullshit. But somehow they still feel like they're on the right path, and that this is what we need to do is a 1/4 point, and then to signal that we're going to lower rates. And in the past, they never lowered rates when the stock market was hitting all-time highs, and the jobs number, like the scenario where we would cut rates is not, historically has not been the scenario that we're in right now. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this sort of plays out. But in my opinion, it's not going to be very good for the dollar. And then the other thing that was weird about the conference is somebody brought up this third mandate. So for those of you that don't know, when the Federal Reserve was created, they didn't have any mandates. And then they created one mandate, which was supposed to be stable prices. Apparently, they decided to change the meaning of the word stable to prices increase by 2% a year. And then they added another mandate, which was full employment. So they have full employment and stable prices, both of which they're failing at by any measure. We don't have full employment, even by their own bullshit numbers. We don't have full employment anywhere near it, and inflation is well over their 2% target. So even if stable actually meant increasing every year by 2%, they're still missing that target. But some people are talking about adding a third mandate when they can't even get the first two right. And the third mandate was something like along the lines of moderate interest rates. We're going to have moderate interest rates. Like they're going to, like they could even control that somehow, but they're just going to make sure that interest rates never get high again or something. It was a really bizarre question. And he actually Powell shot it down. He's like, yeah, that's not one of our mandates. But somebody's like, they're trying to push for that now from the Trump administration to get them to be like, yeah, you also can't raise rates really high, because that wouldn't be moderate rates and that would go against your third mandate. Anyway, the market reacted as any drug addict would when they get a hit of heroin. We hit new all-time highs.
It's crazy. So, granted, I pulled that from Red Wave Press Twitter account, so you can expect what the responses were. But like the people replying to that have absolutely no fucking idea what they're talking about is just absolutely insane. There was one of them was like, it said, unemployment and inflation aren't bad. You should see what my 401k has done since January. It's like, has absolutely nothing to do with either of those other things. Like, these are all, that's completely separate. You're fucking retards. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you haven't noticed that the stock market can keep going up through recessions and bad job markets and things like that, I don't know what to tell you, dude. It's just going to keep melting up and it's basically just a reflection of the dollar's purchasing power going down. If you measure it in terms of like gold, we're not really at all-time highs. Um, 24th and 835. Those are the futures. So NASDAQ is at 24,586. Dow Jones 46,310. Let me pull up the daily chart here. Yeah, it just took out. So Wednesday, we took out the previous all-time high. Yesterday, we took out Wednesday's all-time high. And today, we took out yesterday's previous all-time high. I'm not even going to attempt to call a top to these things. I mean, my experience with trading all-time highs is like it just keeps going higher. Like it'll roll down to like a key level right before it fucking takes off again. And I don't see a big catalyst for bringing these stocks down if they're just going to keep printing money and doling it out. It's gonna make its way into the stock market first. And if somehow they take on that third mandate where they have to have moderate interest rates or whatever the hell, however they phrased it, something along those lines, they're going to have to start the whole QE thing again. Remember, he's saying, oh yeah, we're decreasing our securities purchases. Well, that's not gonna last. And it doesn't even make sense that they're doing that and they're cutting rates. It's kind of like stepping on the gas and the brakes at the same time. So I think once they realize that these rate cuts aren't really bringing down interest rates, they're going to have to start ramping back up QE again. And every time they've done that, the stock market has gone up. So yeah, we already have, I think, unemployment rate based on the U6 number, which is a little more accurate in my opinion than the U3, which includes people that are like discouraged workers. It's at like 8%. And these are like, this is them cooking the books to try to get a rosy number, 8%. So there's a good chance that we have double-digit unemployment. Inflation is, I've always been joking, like I would love to buy that basket of goods that they get from the CPI because I can't find anything that's only gone up by 3% a year. The prices are going up at staggering amounts. So runaway inflation, job market tanking, and in debt up to our eyeballs. Not looking too good from an economic standpoint. And you wouldn't. The idea that, well, whatever. It just amazes me that we have this system in place where it's like a group of people get to decide the fate of the stock market, not the fate of the economy, but like just think of how ridiculous it is that like you have to hang on Powell's words and dissect them. Did he say this? Did he say that? What, like, it's ridiculous that we have a group of people that control this kind of thing. And then of course you have the government putting pressure on them to do what they want. And what could go wrong with that, right? I mean, obviously, Trump wants lower rates because he wants to try to blow the bubble back up. Why would he want to do that? Well, yeah, he's just got to make it through the next couple of years, maybe through the midterms, or okay, till 2028. All he cares about is like getting out of office with things looking good for him, so he can brag about his legacy and how he made America great again, and he had the best economy and the strongest this and the strongest that. He's not concerned about long-term structural health of the U.S. economy. No politician is. It's one of the the problems is the perverse incentive that they have in government. And so he's clearly putting. I mean, he hasn't been hiding the amount of pressure he's been putting on Powell. He's been calling them all kinds of names. He's investigating all these people on the fucking. But we went over the Lisa Cook thing on the last couple of episodes, which is a legitimate mortgage fraud case. But there's no way they would have even been looking into that or bringing charges if she wasn't a Fed governor. So, yeah, I mean, the government's going to do that. They are a fucking gang. Like, this is the federal mafia. And maybe that's a decent segue into the Jimmy Kimmel thing, because the narrative on the left of America is that Trump is putting pressure on all these networks to fire people that are saying bad things about him.
But yeah, we're living under fascism. Just ask Rashida Tlaib.
Rights. We can't be passive right now. So nobody over there should take anything we say so personally, as if we're attacking them. No, we're attacking a process, not attacking people here. And I think it's really important. We need to stand up against this fascist takeover. That's not a bad word. It's a fact. And here in DC and across the country, it is so incredibly important, Mr. Chair, that this committee does not allow rhetoric that defames and or paints Washington D.C. in a way that you all haven't really truly seen. You're just reading it. No, you're just reading it or something off of some.
Will the gentlelady yield to a question?
Yeah.
It's a fascist takeover. That's a fact.
Yeah, not a bad word. That's a fact. Well, and so how do you typically, how do you deal with fascist dictators? Because it's not usually at the ballot box, is it, Justin? No. Historically, that hasn't really worked out for him, has it? So anyway, this has been, I mean, the firestorm, maybe it's just my algorithm that this set off on Twitter. Jimmy Kimmel's show has it officially been canceled, or it's just like suspended indefinitely?
From the way I read it, it is suspended indefinitely with no intention of bringing it back. It's also important to note that Kimmel is coming up on the end of his contract, similar to Colbert, and Kimmel loses as much, if not more money for Disney as what Colbert was losing Paramount. And Kimmel's show is more expensive than Colbert's. And Kimmel had, of the 3 late night shows, Colbert, Fallon, and Jimmy Kimmel Live, Kimmel has the lowest ratings of the 3. So it's like, dude, you just saw them get rid of Colbert because his show is costing the network money hand over fist, and the ratings don't back keeping it in play. Like, you're next on the chopping block. You're the next one whose contract is getting ready to come up. Like, just don't do anything fucking stupid to give them a reason to be like, yeah, it's time to cut dead weight. And then,
yeah. So, yeah, a couple things with that. I believe his contract is up next year. They are hemorrhaging money. I saw Tim Pool posted, there's a post in that Zero Hedge article. Tim Pool was talking about, like, he was only getting like 200,000 viewers in the key demo. I think that number's right, 212,000 or something, like, which is pathetic for that kind of a show. And yeah, he's making, I don't know, $16 million a year or something like that. So I think the writing was on the wall for him. That 212.
It
And the
was-
18 to
it was
49.
200 It was 212, and it's
Oh.
dropped to 129.
129,000 viewers.
Well,
So
and
like
then
that.
There's another. So we've got 3 different articles. There's one from the Wall Street Journal, which is really well written, but not so much good for podcasting. Zero Hedge does a better job of covering all the bullet points. Economic Times had one that kind of goes into the nuts and bolts of the money behind why this happened, and then there's another one from Late Nighter that goes into the actual financials. These shows are costing, losing 25 to 40 million dollars per year for their networks. Like this is not like insignificant losses that these shows are taking on.
Yeah, it's pretty wild that they'll just eat that for some reason, and I don't understand why.
Well, it's the advertising. So even though the shows themselves are losing the money, they get these advertisers that are putting their ads on during those shows and also at other times. So they're getting but the problem that these shows have been facing is because the ratings have been going down over the last 10 years. It started in 2015 when the ratings decline started to happen. And over the last 3 years, it's really just fallen all the way off. But basically, because these big late night shows are losing so much of their audience, now that's having these big advertisers reconsider and scale back the amount of money that they're willing to spend on advertising. So they could eat the losing money as long as the advertisers were staying in place and it was giving them the ad revenue across the board, where they're making up for it in other places. But now it's getting to the point where even the advertisers are like, yeah, we're not going to keep paying to do this when they're, especially with
129,000 views.
Yeah, especially with the target demo, the 18 to 49, like when they're losing that much viewership on the people that they really want to get to, the advertisers are like, why would we continue to do this?
Yeah. And so also one of the things that Wall Street Journal article talked about was them taking heat from advertisers being angry about the comments that Jimmy Kimmel made. Was it Monday night? Is it on Monday night?
Yeah, I believe
Monday. Okay. So Monday night show where he was talking about Charlie Kirk, and dude, I'm sorry, like he just blatantly fucking lied about about the affiliation or the political affiliation of the shooter. And this isn't like he did it Thursday, like the day after. This is fucking 5 days later, where we have all kinds of evidence to the contrary. Like literally, you have the governor, you have the FBI, you have the fucking family. You have the stuff written on the shell casings.
The furry boyfriend himself, or girlfriend.
Yeah, I don't think we had the text message. The text messages came out like the next day. I don't know yet. We might have to talk about those because I don't think we've talked about those yet. But so, I mean, and then you just have like common sense being like, yeah, obviously, somebody who liked Charlie Kirk or somebody who agreed with Charlie Kirk politically is probably not going to shoot him in the throat. He comes out there and he implies that that all these MAGA supporters are out there trying to do everything they can to paint him as something other than one of themselves. So like that was absolutely fucking ridiculous. But it's honestly, it's no more ridiculous than the other shit that he says on his show daily.
But the problem that this got him into was, so the left has made this all about the FCC chair, Brendan Carr, saying that that the FCC was going to go after Disney for Kimmel saying this. The FCC never actually did anything. Brendan Carr didn't say that in any official capacity. He said that in a conversation on a podcast with Benny Johnson, just talking. And And Disney even said they never were contacted by the FCC in any way. As soon as Kimmel made that comment, the networks that like their affiliate networks, ABC's affiliate networks, and a lot of viewers got really pissed off and started, and there was a wave of backlash that hit Disney almost immediately. Before Brennan Carr said fucking anything to Benny Johnson. And again, the FCC never even reached out to Disney at all. This was purely Disney's decision. The immediate backlash caused them to go into having discussions about what do we need to do. And it even says in all of the articles that the Disney bosses got with Kimmel and basically talked to him about like, hey, what are you like? This got us a lot of pushback. What are you going to do going forward? And Kimmel basically just doubled down and was like, more or less, I'm going to be a massive pain in the ass. And so then they went back.
He wasn't going to apologize. He was going to bash the MAGA supporters again on the following show. And so they pulled the plug like immediately.
And they said it was for his own good as well. Like they were like, if you do this, you are going to like, this could be career suicide for you. So they pulled the plug on the show to keep him from saying things that were going to hurt him more, as much as anything, which is kind of crazy.
So yeah, and remind me, I'll try to remember to link to the full Wall Street Journal article, that the one that's not behind the paywall for anybody that wants to read it, because we're not just like making this stuff up. But I will say, like, you don't, the threat from the FCC, it's kind of out there. Like they wouldn't technically have to like do anything in an official capacity. They could kind of just throw it out, throw the comment out, be like, oh, we may have to look into that. Like that's sort of some mafioso techniques too, where it's just like, yeah, if they don't clean up their act over there, we might have to look into them, or we might have to take some further steps or something. So I get that there's that threat coming. That threat's always kind of out there when you have a federal mafia type thing. But if anything, then that should just be the case to abolish the FCC, as far as I'm concerned. Like that should be your takeaway. That, okay, yeah, if you don't want the federal government to be able to pressure networks and affiliates and everything to put out the message that they want, well, then don't have this thing that has that kind of power to dictate who gets the license to do whatever. That should be your takeaway. If you really believe that they acted not because they were taking pressure from advertisers and not because they were disgusted with what Jimmy Kimmel said or anything like that. If it was strictly because the chairman of the FCC came out and made like a tacit threat or something like that, well, then that's the only proper takeaway from that is the federal government shouldn't have this kind of power.
Well, and then, so talking about the FCC side of stuff, when you look further into it, so number one, Disney's already kind of dancing on thin ice because back at the end of 2024, they lost a lawsuit to Trump for defamation and had to pay him $15 million, I think it was. And then Paramount lost the lawsuit over the editing the Kamala Harris interview tape and had to pay $16 million. So these networks have already been getting their asses handed to them on the way that they handled Trump for the last 10 years, really. And then also Disney via ESPN is in the process of purchasing the NFL Network, which is a huge, like, multi-billion-dollar deal that requires the FCC signing off on. And also, one of their big affiliates, Nexstar, is in the process of making a huge acquisition that's in the neighborhood of like $6 billion that also requires the FCC to sign off on. So they, like, the Disney and their affiliates do not need FCC heat right now when they're trying to make big moves. And Jimmy Kimmel just like the timing and his approach and the way he responded all basically kind of sealed the deal on him.
Right. Yeah. He doesn't have the kind of clout for them. Like if they wanted to go to bat for him, they're not going to do it over somebody that's pulling in 129,000 views.
Yeah.
Right. And, honestly, what I think is that Jimmy Kimmel saw the treatment that Colbert got. Like he was just fucking lionized by all the people that he wants approval from when the Colbert show got its notice of cancellation. He knows, I mean, he's not retarded. He knows that his contract is up next year and that he's probably, next up on the chopping block. And so he's just like, yeah, I'm going to be a fucking, a pain in the ass and go out as like a fucking martyr. I really think that's kind of like, he's like, yeah, I'm not going to apologize. I'm going to double down. And yeah, you can go ahead and cancel me. And then look at the praise that he gets to go out as this like free speech, First Amendment martyr. In his mind, I honestly think that's kind of it's kind of like a win-win situation for him because he's going away anyway. Do you want to get your show officially canceled, just kind of tuck your tail and slink off into the sunset? Or do you want to go out and getting these standing ovations for being, free speech this and free speech that, and he's a hero and we all stand, I am Jimmy Kimmel. Like, you get all this fucking undeserved praise heaped upon you. It's like, which route are you going to take? If you know you're getting shit canned anyway.
Speaking of Colbert had a statement on Kimmel getting axed.
But tonight, we are all Jimmy Kimmel. I still have a show, though, right? Okay, good. Yesterday, after threats from Trump's FCC chair, ABC yanked Kimmel off the air indefinitely. That is blatant censorship. And it always starts small. Remember like in week 1 of his presidency, Gulf of America. Call it Gulf of America. Sure, seems harmless, but with an autocrat, you cannot give an inch. And if ABC thinks that this is going to satisfy the regime, they are woefully naive.
Okay. To Magoo's point, they got an excuse from their perspective. It's like, yeah, we kind of want to get rid of this guy anyway. And he's, this is as good of a reason as any other. We're going to take it. Can you pull up that clip again and just go back to the headline I want to go through that headline real quick. Because this is how they fucking play with shit. After threat from Trump's FCC chair, ... ABC yanks Jimmy Kimmel's show indefinitely. Now, Trump's FCC, like you said, did not officially threaten ABC and be like, if you don't pull Jimmy Kimmel's show, we're going to do XYZ to you. This guy was on a podcast talking about it. And then after that happened, ABC yanked Jimmy Kimmel's show. So technically, it happened after the threat. These threats were made, but it wasn't because of the threats were made.
I was going to say, except that ABC had already been having conversations with Kimmel about what he said on his show, and Disney execs were already basically rallying around trying to figure out how are we going to fucking handle this, because
but they didn't actually yank the show until after the FCC chair was talking about it. So like technically this is a true statement. It's factual but not truthful, right? It's like Michael Malice's thing. Like this is how they fucking do it. And of course everybody runs with this headline and it's like, yep, FCC, which yeah, I agree. The FCC should not be able to fucking put pressure on networks to cancel shows. It's why I don't want an FCC. I don't want a lot of things the federal government has that you shouldn't have to get a license to do any of this shit. But this is the world that we fucking live in now. And to pretend that it's just so disingenuous that's the only possible reason that Jimmy Kimmel's show could have gotten canceled is because Trump didn't like his joke. I mean, how many jokes has he made about Donald Trump over the last 10 years? 8 years or whatever it is, 9 years now? Like, to think that Donald Trump's just like, oh, yep, this is the one joke that I couldn't take anymore, and we have to pressure him to take out. No. It's not like that. And it's certainly not a free speech issue.
When they act like it's Trump too, it was like Trump. It was Brennan Carr was the one who made the comments that like. So you got to see Colbert and his righteous indignation and the way he and that's why they keep losing viewership, because they're not fucking funny anymore. Like, at least try to do something like Jimmy Fallon did and be somewhat humorous about it.
Well, guys, the big story is that Jimmy Kimmel was suspended by ABC after pressure from the FCC, leaving everyone thinking WTF.
It's not bad.
This morning,
it's probably about as good as it gets.
For my dad saying, "I'm sorry they canceled your show." I go, "That's not me. That's Jimmy Kimmel." But to be honest with you all, I don't know what's going on, and no one does. But I do know Jimmy Kimmel, and he's a decent, funny, and loving guy, and I hope he comes back. Yeah, a lot of people are worried that we won't keep saying what we want to say or that we'll be censored. But I'm going to cover the president's trip to the UK just like I normally would. Here we go. Well, guys, President Trump just wrapped up his 3-day trip to the UK, and he
looked incredibly handsome.
As always, his tie was
exactly the right length.
And his face looked
like a color that exists in nature.
And his hair looked
better than Conrad's from the summer I turned pretty.
During the trip, protesters managed to project images onto the sides of Windsor Castle of Trump standing next to his good friend, Jeff Goldblum. Even though his administration still insists that he's not in the
Goldblum
file. We all know it's absolute bull.
True.
Anyway, to sum it up, President Trump is
making America great again by restoring our national reputation, reinvigorating our economy, and rebuilding our military. I hereby nominate him for the Nobel Peace Prize.
And you can quote me on that.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't bad.
Then that Kimmel or Fallon has more or less stayed out of the political scrum, and that's why he doesn't catch any flack. Like, he also doesn't do anything that really sets him apart and makes him better than the other ones. But he's about to have no competition, so
yeah, just hang back and let the other idiots take all the arrows. I mean, if we're going to talk about saying like offense, do we have, I know everyone's like, oh, Jimmy Kimmel is like this great guy or whatever. And people that know him have nothing but like nice things to say about him outside of his TV personality. Like maybe apparently he's a lot different in real life than he is on TV, which to me is just kind of a weird thing to be playing a different version of yourself on your own late night talk show. But okay. But I mean, wasn't he on there saying like, oh, people who aren't getting the vaccine should basically fucking die and not get medical attention? No hospital beds for you unless you take the vaccine? That doesn't sound like a very nice guy to me. I'm sorry. And to act like this is just like all of a sudden now we have this political censorship in America. This is the beginning of it. This should chill every American to the core. It's like, where the fuck were you guys 5 years ago?
Right. Where have you been for the last 20 years when Roseanne got canceled? When
Megyn Kelly got canceled for like talking about Halloween costumes. It was like a blackface costume, and she was like, oh yeah, like correct me if I'm wrong, but she wasn't wearing blackface. Somebody else had like a blackface costume on. She's like, oh yeah, like when we were kids, like this was kind of like a popular thing to do. Sort of like comments along those lines. Don't quote me exactly on it. And you actually have Jimmy Kimmel, not even just in blackface, in full black suit, including the face, doing Karl Malone impressions, which were fucking hilarious, by the way. Back when before Jimmy's balls got put in a fucking mason jar somewhere in his kitchen counter. He used to be a funny guy, but like he didn't get canceled for that. Megyn Kelly got shit canned for like making a comment about a Halloween costume. Like you said, Roseanne for a joke, a tweet maybe. There's like a whole list of them.
They went after Tucker Carlson and ultimately ended up getting him fired. Alex Jones is one of them that they've been going after for forever. Steven Crowder, Gina Carano, the chick that was on The Mandalorian. They went after her for some tweets that weren't even that bad objectively. Dave Chappelle, they've gone after him to get him canceled like every single fucking time that they possibly could.
Yeah.
And he's one of them. That's the crazy thing.
Well, that's why they're having so much trouble. It's hard to cancel a black dude for making tranny jokes. But he did it in like back-to-back specials, and they threw a temper tantrum and tried to get his specials taken off of Netflix. I don't think they were successful in that, but could be wrong. But I mean, yeah, dude, the Alex Jones thing that should chill you to your core, because he got kicked off of every major platform at the exact same time. Banks, social media, like that is so much more bone chilling than your show getting canceled by ABC because you have shitty numbers, and it happened to coincide with a politically charged comment, which was bullshit, by the way.
And it's so terrifying that Trump and the FCC are going after people. It wasn't nobody had a problem with it whenever it was the Biden administration doing it. Facebook admits they censored anybody the Biden admin told them to. We didn't ask questions.
Well, dude, remember when he went on Rogan and he was telling the story about the Hunter Biden laptop. He's like, yeah, we got this intelligence brief from one of the ABC agencies. And they said, you're going to get some Russian disinformation pretty soon. Beware of Russian disinformation. Russian disinformation this, Russian disinformation that. And then, 4 days later, the laptop drops and all the ABC agencies are like, Russian disinformation. You better deal with it. It's like, yeah. Remember you couldn't even share the link to the article was it the Washington or the New York Post article? Like you couldn't even share it. You couldn't message it to somebody on Twitter. To act like Jimmy Kimmel is like the perfect example of some sort of government censorship is absolutely ridiculous, dude. They were kicking people off of YouTube for getting everything right, by the way. Jimmy Kimmel happens to be wrong about everything. That's the other interesting point here. Like, he's just wrong all the time.
Here you go. Talking about Roseanne. This is Kimmel on Roseanne. ABC, to their credit, didn't waste any time. They canceled her show today. I'm not a fan of censorship, but this wasn't about free speech. It was about the consequences of saying something vile. You can say what you want, but networks don't have to pay you to say it.
Yeah. It's... Right. Like, and to sit there and act like they have a leg to stand on, talking about censorship, talking about the First Amendment, and being outraged that this guy, lost his job because of, even if it was political pressure, he lost his job for something he said. And the level of outrage for that is like up here. And a week before that, a dude lost his life for things that he said. And if there was any outrage, it was far, far lower.
And their side was literally celebrating it.
Right. And they're like, oh, this is free speech. It's not free speech. How would that even work? You have a First Amendment right to have a late night show. So when do I get to host one? When do I get the $16 million to go talk on TV? Yeah, Chappelle was attacked on stage. Yeah, I remember that. It's like they tried to spear him or something. He just kind of threw him to the ground. But that could have been, that was the other thing. I was listening to it was like Charles Charles. Who's the Crowder guy? Not Charles Crowder.
Steven Crowder?
What's that? Steven Crowder and Tim Pool were talking about just the levels of security and shit that they have to have. And to act like this is just this, it's on both sides kind of thing. It's like, nah, dude, they're defending themselves against these sort of attacks all the time. One of them, I mean, this one against Charlie got through. It's one of the few that have gotten through. I mean, but like, I guarantee you there's probably dozens of other incidents where like his security had to intervene to protect him or something like that. And you just don't see it because they don't really advertise the kind of attacks that they're protected against because they don't want copycats and things like that. But yeah, dude, this is I don't know. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous on so many levels. But to call this some sort of free speech issue.
Well, one of the articles said that ABC and Disney like Jimmy Kimmel, and they would like for him to come back. But in order for that to happen, he's going to have to lower the temperature. And the whole reason that they pulled the show was because they pulled the show indefinitely, is because he showed no intention of doing that. It's like, you can say what you want, but also if you say certain things, that's going to cause trouble for not just us, but for you as well. So you need to, they talk about lowering the temperature. Then they talk about, softening the rhetoric when asked to do just that. Instead, he decided to double down. It's like,
so do you think, let's say there was no FCC, we're in Johnatopia right now, and there is no FCC. Do you think they would have pulled his show just based off of the heat that they were taking from advertisers and the potential problems that they were going to cause the show and the ratings and all that? And there's no threat from the FCC of fucking up their NFL deal or their license for XYZ.
Yeah, I personally, I think, given how much money the show loses, how much the ratings have gone down, how much that's affected advertising revenue and everything else, that even if the FCC had absolutely no involvement in this whatsoever, Kimmel was going to end up getting canceled. Whether it happened this week or not is another question, but it was definitely going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it at the very least, it's just not a clear cut. Oh, they only did this because they got pressured from the government to do it. There's a very strong case that to be made that they were going to do it anyway. And the idea, I don't know, the idea that the government acted that swiftly to put pressure on them too, I just don't believe it. I just don't believe that they have their act together that quickly.
And that was just dumb luck because Brennan Carr was going on with, because like, how schedule or booking guest goes. Like, that's not something that you do overnight. Like, Brennan Carr had been scheduled to go on with Benny Johnson probably for a couple weeks. Like, just as dumb luck would have it, he was going on, and then
this story is in the news, and he gets the comment on it.
Yeah, it's not like that was some big plan or something. And Nexstar had already taken steps to remove Kimmel from their affiliate networks anyway. So that, like, Nexstar is one of the big affiliates of Disney that has a bunch of ABC stations and stuff like that. Nexstar was already pulling the show before Disney made the official canceled or suspended indefinitely. So one of their big networks, just seeing the backlash from it, had already made the decision. The FCC notwithstanding, Nexstar had already decided to do that. So
yeah, and once one of the major affiliates pulls the show, I think the rest just kind of fall in line. It's like a domino effect. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else to say other than these people are absolutely retarded. What's this, South Park? Huh. Interesting. I wonder if they'll ever release that episode somehow.
They said they didn't have it ready. They just said that they said they didn't get the show ready. They didn't have everything finished, and so it wasn't ready to go to air.
They're too busy celebrating Charlie Kirk's death to get it done.
Well,
too busy disrupting his candlelight vigils and destroying some monuments and shit that they're erecting to him.
Well, I think we already talked about it, but like they also Paramount pulled the episode of South Park that had the Charlie Kirk episode. They pulled that, and everybody was like, "Don't do that!" Like Charlie Kirk loved that episode. He thought it was hilarious. Like he would want that to be up. Like don't pull that. Like there was some overreaction on some of the network side on stuff.
Yeah, that was one thing that we touched on in the last episode, is that the whole right is going a little, they've kind of lost the plot on this thing, talking about hate speech and using the government to go after people for things that, for jokes and stuff like that. That's how this Jimmy Kimmel, he's like, oh, he made a joke about Trump and then Trump put like, that's just ridiculous, dude. I mean, he's probably made at least 1,000 jokes about Trump in the last 10 years. If Donald Trump really had that kind of clout and wanted to do it, why didn't he do it before?
Well, and like what Kimmel said wasn't a joke. It was just straight up like he was stating what he believed to be facts. Just like Colbert in his opening monologue in support of Kimmel, that wasn't a joke. That was him having righteous indignation and being mad on Jimmy Kimmel's part, or on Jimmy Kimmel's behalf. What Fallon did, that was a joke. Like that's how humor is supposed to work. Like, what Kimmel and Colbert do, it's not comedy. It's just political grandstanding.
Yeah, well, and it's just pushing an obvious bullshit narrative to like it had been. I mean, I don't know how much more evidence you would need to prove that this wasn't some Christian conservative shooting Charlie Kirk. I mean, it's just ridiculous to roll with that. I mean, he did move it into like a thing making fun of Trump, because he goes to like an interview that he was doing on like the White House lawn and just shows that Donald Trump, it's like they ask him how he's doing and he's just like, oh, I'm doing good. Look at the ballroom, whatever. Like, yeah, Donald Trump's a fucking egomaniac. We all know that. It's like, okay. But the thing that really pissed people off is that you're clearly lying to your audience. Yes, activism, not comedy. And I'm not surprised that nobody really watches that. All these people that are freaking out are not watching the show. And if he is, and they're like, oh, this could happen to conservatives. We're going to get like some, Gutfeld fired or whatever. It's like, they already, like I said, they already did that to Megyn Kelly, and she's got one of the biggest fucking podcasts out there now. Same with Tucker Carlson. Like you try to cancel those people. And it's cancellation that the market doesn't want. I mean, Tucker Carlson had the biggest cable news show like of all time, and they fired him. That's not a market force in play. And you can see that based on how his podcast does in the numbers now. I don't think Jimmy Kimmel is going to have a very successful podcast after this. He can, if he really wants to assert his First Amendment rights, he can figure out a way to get his message out there. You're not entitled to a TV network in order to do so. And I mean, of all the people that have been getting canceled, the ones on the left are canceled because of market forces. And you get to see what happens. I mean, I have some Don Lemon stuff, but if you just anytime you see that guy, it's just so pathetic what he's doing to try to stay relevant.
Yeah, Don Lemon was a key example of like he overvalued himself in the market. He got fired. I don't think they were any worse for the wear before or after he left than what they were before. Oh, and then he went and tried to start his like Twitter show, like, you know, following in the footsteps of Tucker Carlson, and then the thing completely fell on its fucking face. On the flip side of that, you look at Tucker Carlson, whenever Fox fired him, his time slot ratings dropped off significantly. And then he launched his Twitter show and was doing 10 to 15 million views per episode consistently. And I think he still does in the like 8 to 10 range, even now, a couple years later. I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, dude, I don't know. The right's not really that. I don't think they're that concerned at this point about, I don't know, getting major TV network shows canceled or something. They're much more concerned about people being debanked, deplatformed, arrested. I mean, these are the same people that put fucking Trump's lawyers in prison for giving him a defense that he's entitled to under the Constitution. You know what I mean? Like, if you put this stuff in proper context, it's absolutely fucking crazy that they're trying to make a martyr out of Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah. And then it is really funny to watch them. Yeah, they're canceling Disney, Hulu, which other, I don't know if there's any other platforms associated with them, but it's just like,
they're canceling their Disney, Hulu, and ESPN subscriptions. It's like, okay, do we actually believe any leftist watches sports? Like, yeah, yeah, it's totally. And well, and it's like, do leftist boycotts ever actually work? Because they're not the ones that spend money on stuff.
Yeah, they're all fucking brokies with no job. That's why they can all they have all this time to protest and riot and things like that.
It's like if y'all really cared that much about Jimmy Kimmel, he wouldn't have the worst ratings of all the late night shows out there. Like, what are y'all? You're not supporting. They don't actually support any of the things that they claim to care about. So whenever they do these boycotts, it doesn't actually hurt anything. And okay, let's say a bunch of leftists cancel their Disney Plus subscriptions. Disney's going to take a hit in the short term. Does that short term hit for what they lose in subscriptions even put a fucking dent in what they could have stood to lose if the NFL Network deal doesn't go through? Like, so it's like, okay, we lose some subscriptions here. We get the NFL Network and gain on that side. And also now the left is completely pissed off at us, which means the right will be a little less pissed off at us if we just like don't be outwardly completely fucking fags all the time. We might be able to like win some of that like viewership back.
Yeah. Dude, it's just so funny watching them come around. Like, the right had canceled their Disney subscription like 5 years ago when they were putting out the fucking weird child porn-ish type fucking video. What was that? Or was that Netflix that had the dancing little girls or something?
Oh, that was Netflix. Yeah.
Yeah. What were they canceling Disney for? It's just all the woke superhero stuff.
Yeah, woke propaganda bullshit. Constantly catering to all of the DEI demographics.
Yeah. I mean, this is it's just really funny watching them try to organize these boycotts that like thinking they're going to stick it to the conservatives of America, and the conservatives have already boycotted those things. So it's just like, all right.
Yeah, it's like, hey, nice for you to catch up to us. We've been doing this for 5 years. Where have you been this whole time?
Yeah, this is this one reaction on Twitter is that every major talent that works for ABC and Disney should refuse to show up for work until Jimmy Kimmel is reinstated. Marvel movies need to be shut down. Ditto to sitcoms. Collective boycott. I just remember thinking, I was like, imagine thinking that anything other than an absolute win for America. Like, yeah, okay, so no more Disney, ABC, and these Marvel movies with the. But who put out the Ghostbuster movies with just all women?
I don't know. That was a terrible. Did you ever watch that one?
No. I watched The Black Mermaid though.
Was that any good? I did not watch
No,
it.
I mean the best aspects of it were just like the original songs and stuff from the first Mermaid. It was just distracting that she was a Black Mermaid, basically. And then I think they had like if I remember correctly, her dad was like a Mexican or something. Like the whole thing was just weird, dude. It was just distracting.
Mexican dad, Black Little Mermaid, like just the concept of it was too far-fetched for me. Like I can at least get on board with just the mermaid side of it, but then when it's a black mermaid, like there ain't no way that chick's getting her hair wet.
They're not swimming. Did you see that one? Oh my god, dude, there was some black dude that like went on a rampage. He like stabbed 2 people on like a golf course or something, and then fell into a river and drowned because he couldn't swim. It was like it was like black level 10,000 was my fucking joke.
Just have to stand there and be like, dude, you don't have to perpetuate the stereotype. Like,
you couldn't have done it any better. You couldn't have done it any better. I mean, stereotypes are stereotypes for a reason. I always say that. Good luck trying to start one that's not 100% true. But I remember the person who posted the video was like, shocking video of this guy drowning. I was like, yeah, that should shock nobody. Like,
like
people cannot swim.
Going back to the Disney thing, like Marvel has already been taking it on the chin. Like they had to do basically a complete course correction on the way they were doing their movies because they kept putting out these like terrible woke movies, and they had to cut out all the woke shit. Like they had to do reshoot after reshoot.
What was the one that they just canceled altogether?
Oh fuck!
Like they were done making the movie and they just didn't release it because it was going to be that bad.
That was Warner Brothers with the Batwoman. There was they did a Batwoman show and just like, nah, they were done with it and they were just like, nope, we can't put this out.
Yeah.
Just called it a tax write-off and moved on. Well, like Marvel has there was a new Daredevil show that came out, and it went through 9 different reshoots because they kept screen testing it, and the audience just like they finally found an audience that actually like understands comic book stuff, and the audience just kept basically telling them it fucking sucks, and so they had to like do 9 reshoots on it. The most recent Captain America: Brave New World that came out, it was fine. It was actually a decent movie, but they had to go through like 2 or 3 different reshoots because it screen tested so poorly. Like they kept trying to add woke bullshit into these shows, and they finally figured out how to screen test in front of audiences, in front of their actual target audience instead of a group of DEI hires, and like starting to get shit right. It was like, yeah, I mean, Disney's already gone through some years of trying to figure out where they were fucking up and why they were losing money hand over fist on a lot of these big productions and stuff. So they're probably not going to spend a whole lot of time wasting time and more money on a Jimmy Kimmel or something else like that is clearly been proven not to be profitable.
Yeah, and I mean, on top of all of that, it's just a dying, like, people are not consuming content that way anymore. So, like, it was going away anyway. It was only a matter of time. I think all of these type of shows, I mean, I guess they're just keeping it on there for the tradition of having, like, a late night talk show or something. But, I mean, once the last boomer is gone, I don't know anybody that watches these shows. You know, people, my generation doesn't really, like, they don't have cable TV. They're not subscribing to these things. And the people younger than us, like, I have no idea what they're consuming, but it's not cable TV.
Yeah, I would watch Leno sometimes. I was a little bit more of a fan of Conan O'Brien. I would watch him some, but like Conan O'Brien doesn't even do. I think we talked about it before. Like, he does a YouTube channel now and does pretty decent numbers wise with his YouTube channel. So, like,
Yeah. So to act like
we want it.
Jimmy Kimmel's been silenced or something is just absolutely ridiculous. The guy's got all the money in the world. He could start his own network if he really wanted to. But he can do his own YouTube thing. He could do something on Rumble. He could say whatever he wants, and you guys can listen. You won't. But yeah, you could if you wanted to.
Well, that's the thing. They won't. Remember, so what was it? There was what was the one that like overtook Joe Rogan at the beginning of the year, like right after Trump?
Was it the Midas touch or something?
Yeah. What kind of numbers are they doing? Like they got.
I don't know. I see them commenting on Twitter, but yeah, I have no idea.
It's a liberal flash in the pan. Like liberal audience tunes in just for a thing, and then they lose interest and they move on to other things. Like Rogan is consistently in that spot because Rogan actually has an audience. Liberals don't actually care about anything enough to get on board and like do it on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. So like, yeah, they'll get that flash in the pan of, oh, look, this week Midas Touch beat Joe Rogan for top downloads. And then where is it now?
Yeah. Well, they just don't have the ideas to sustain long form shows. I mean, that's why like the cable news cycle where they have these like 5-minute segments and everybody gets like 45 seconds to get out their talking points. That suits them very well. You know, you can throw out these bullshit statistics and you get your talking points in and then you move on to the next person or the next segment or commercial break or something. But for all the talk of like, oh yeah, we want to speak truth to power, and they never do it when they have the opportunity. Kamala Harris could have gone on Joe Rogan and spoke truth to power for 3 hours. What did she do? Figured out a way to get out of it. When you're running for president, you don't want to go on the biggest podcast of all time to speak truth to power. Why not? And by the way, dude, anybody who's talking about speaking truth to power, like I can't remember the last time there was any truth being spoken, and they're not speaking it to power. Whatever bullshit they're spewing, they're talking to a bunch of a captive sympathetic audience.
Midas Touch has fallen to number 33.
Okay. Yeah.
Guess what the number one podcast in the country was this past week?
Charlie Kirk.
And
Yeah.
Candace Owens came in right behind him, which is crazy. And then Rogan.
Oh, she's on a fucking warpath, dude. I didn't realize that they were such good friends.
I've never listened to her enough to
me neither.
Formulate an opinion. I guess maybe I need to. I don't know.
But yeah, I was joking on X, like for this racist white supremacist, he's not very good at it. Candace Owens posted she did like an Instagram thing. It was like a couple minutes long, just photos of them together, like having a couple videos too, having a great time. I guess they like kind of came up together and they went on all these events. They were like legitimately like close friends. And she posted this tribute to him. And I was like, oh yeah, man, it's like the worst racist ever. It really is something, man. Oh, there you go. She worked at TPUSA for a couple of years. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't really follow Charlie Kirk that much either. I feel like if you do what we do in the political sphere, it's kind of hard to avoid him. But like, I would never seek him out. Like, oh, let me see what Charlie Kirk has to say on this topic or something. But people have.
I would see clips and stuff, and I would see interviews that he did and stuff like that. But I agreed with him on a lot of stuff, and there was also a lot of stuff that I didn't necessarily agree entirely with him on. Like he made some good points, but there's some stuff that I didn't exactly agree with. And yeah, I was familiar with, but didn't really follow or know a whole lot about him.
Yeah, but if you did watch any of his like full appearances on things, the idea that anybody like that could be painted as such a despicable human being by like the corporate press, like all these people, it really is insane. Like he comes across as just like the nicest guy. And I don't know him, but like I watched him do like political podcasts. I watched him do non-political podcasts. he just doesn't seem like, if you can take somebody like that and paint him to be a miniature Hitler or something, Hitler Youth, like, and you can convince a large swath of the American people that that is the case, that should be bone chilling. That should chill you to the core, because he was so far from the way that they portrayed him. And again, essentially based on like 3 or 4 clips from what I've seen, that they have to frame in a way that's very disingenuous to make it seem a lot worse than it actually was. And it wasn't really that bad to begin with.
Yeah, there's been a post going around. It's like, imagine when all these leftists find out that everything they hate Charlie Kirk over is a bunch of clips that were either taken completely out of context or totally fabricated and lied about. It's like, well, they already know and they don't care. Like
I don't think they're going to. Yeah, it's giving them a little too much credit. I mean, how many of them still believe that very fine people on both sides? You know, it's just like, I don't know. I mean, there's just so many bullshit narratives out there that they haven't come around on. And if they haven't come around on it by now, I don't think they're ever going to. So that it's either like they're just being completely disingenuous or they're willfully ignorant, and they have no hope of changing. I mean, like, you can go down the list: Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, George Floyd, very fine people on both sides. But and even it doesn't have to be any of that racially. Women make 77 cents on the dollar or something. Like all these, have you seen all these charts going around about how, oh yeah, the vast majority of violence is coming from the far right wing of America? And it's just like, yeah, okay. If you're going to define, like, if Charlie Kirk is far right, okay, then like, if that's your definition, and you're going to, and like, people have looked into these numbers, like they didn't include any of the 2020 Black Lives Matter riots. There was no death or destruction or anything associated with that in the numbers. There was some guy that was shot in Portland for being like, literally the guy's like, I'm shooting you because you're a Trump supporter, and he shot him, and like that wasn't included in the number. So like, these numbers are complete bullshit. It's basically, we're going to label anything we want. Any sort of violence is right-wing violence, and nothing is left-wing violence. And oh, look at this chart that we have now via the ADL. But yeah, they'll just roll with that now. And so that's the narrative. It doesn't matter how many times you debunk it. They're still going to roll with it. And you'll probably have President Obama come out there and talk about it, 10 years after the fact. It's been debunked a bajillion times. And it's like, yeah, women make 77 cents on the dollar. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Oh, dude. Well, go back to the 70s where you had the Weather Underground. Like, by the way, like, let's say for the sake of argument that there was an exactly equal amount of politically motivated violence on both sides, left and right, the exact same number, 10 and 10 or whatever. There are like literal convicted murderers working at universities today. There's at least one, I forget the guy's name, but then there's a whole bunch of other ones that were suspected of like bombing places, like from the Weather Underground, and they all have like tenure at these universities after they go to fucking prison. It's like, on the right, that's not the case. If there was political violence, they're not given a prestigious job at fucking Harvard afterwards. Anyway, none of those charts went back into the 70s. They all went from like 2000 to today, if that. Okay. And then, yeah, we're going to exclude 2020 Black Lives Matter riots.
My daughter's doing a report for one of her school classes on school shootings and school violence. And so she just gave like she sent me her introductory paragraph for it and talked about some some just basic overall numbers on like school violence and stuff over the last 2 or 3 years. I said, now show me the demographics. And she said, what does that mean? I said, based on race, sex, etc. Like, show me how it actually breaks down for who did all of that violence. And so she pulled it up and sent me a screenshot of it. It's exactly what you expect. It's like 70% black males. It's like crazy, right? I was like, don't put that in your report. They'll call you a racist.
Yeah, and this is your mixed race daughter?
No, that's not.
No, okay.
My clone. Now, the mixed race daughter was the one that talking about perpetuating stereotypes. A few years ago, I had her. Stephanie was working. And it was just me and her home alone one day, and I was like, "What do you want for lunch?" And she said, "I want fried chicken and watermelon." I was like, "God damn it! We don't have to perpetuate stereotypes. I know fried chicken and watermelon's good, but holy shit, come on! Like, pump the brakes a little bit. Don't say it so enthusiastically like that. Just be like, I don't know.
It's just again, I don't understand like wanting to go through this like backbreaking mental gymnastics to try to prove stereotypes wrong. Like, it literally will get you killed. We saw that on the train a week ago. But like, what? It's just like I said. Go ahead and try to start a stereotype that is ridiculously false and see if it catches on. It's impossible to do. These are stereotypes for a reason. And look, dude, like, people have to live in the real world. The proof is in the pudding. Like, Tim Pool has to walk around with armed security and probably like a fucking bulletproof vest now. Is that fucking crazy Destiny guy? Does he have to do that? Because I saw he just did some sort of spin-off thing on a college campus, like Prove Me Wrong or whatever. Something like, do you think he had the level of security that Charlie Kirk had to have? Like, none of these wing podcasters have to do what the right-wing podcasters have to do in order to protect themselves. Like, that kind of just tells you everything right there. And they don't seem to have a problem. Like, they're going to the candlelight vigils and they're destroying everything. You seen those kids doing that?
Yeah.
They don't seem to have any fear of repercussions, do they? Why is that? You know, if it's equal on both sides, like, okay, why isn't Destiny walking around with a flak jacket and fucking armed bodyguards surrounding him? Because it's not. And yeah, Jimmy Kimmel doesn't have to fear some sort of some crazy gunman's going to take him out. I guess he has to fear losing his job, but that's about it. And that's the way it should be. It's the way I wish it was, but it's just demonstrably false that it's the other way around, or that it's somehow equal. Midnight Hammer, I guess. Yeah. Right. Yeah. The Governor Whitmer thing, that was like clearly a fucking FBI plot. They still trot that one out. The Pelosi hammer. Again, dude, if there was ever an attack to make fun of the victim, it would have been the Paul Pelosi thing. And it has nothing to do with him being on like, that was just like we were said on the last episode. It was just a bizarre thing. How do you not find any sort of humor in that? And the guy didn't die, by the way. So, yeah, they really don't have a fucking leg to stand on when it comes to the violence angle. They don't have a leg to stand on when it comes to the First Amendment or government censorship. Dude, they were cheerleading the most Orwellian government censorship ever just a few years ago. Advocating, and Jimmy Kimmel himself was advocating for people to die instead of receiving. He didn't want them receiving hospital beds because they didn't take the vaccine. You don't have a leg to stand on at that point. And trying to point out some sort of hypocrisy on the right because now they're advocating for cancel culture or what, like, even if you could make a compelling case, they don't give a shit. They're done playing this game. I think they finally realized it's like, oh yeah, the left doesn't care about being hypocritical. I don't give a shit about it being hypocritical. I don't give a shit. Like, the left is going to use the government to attack me, to censor me, to take away my livelihood, get me fired from my job. Okay, then I got control of the government now. Now I'm going to wield that power. And this is what libertarians have been talking about for as long as I can remember. It's like, you don't want to give the government that power because it'll be turned around and used against you. So if you believe the narrative that this was, this is all because of Donald Trump and the FCC putting pressure on the network to pull Jimmy Kimmel, okay, well, your takeaway from that is not Donald Trump bad. It's FCC bad. Let's abolish that. And any sort of government regulatory body that gets to dictate who gets licenses and who doesn't. You should have a free market in this shit. And the thing is, if they had a free market, Jimmy Kimmel would have been shit canned a long time ago. And they probably wouldn't have any of these prominent left-wing voices on TV. And the other thing is like, going back to the point I was talking about where they don't have the ideas to stand up to like a long form show or anything like that. They don't, like, somebody pointed out on Twitter, it's like, yeah, there's nobody on the left that was doing what Charlie Kirk was doing. Just going out there and be like, hey, like, these are my ideas. Come and prove me wrong. Nobody's doing that on the left. Nobody has the desire to have their ideas challenged. And I pointed out, I was like, not only that, dude, they'll post something on X and then turn off the comments. How many times have you seen that just in the last couple of days? Because they don't even want to hear the comments. And I doubt it's because the comments are so, just a bunch of white supremacists or something. It's because the comments are going to prove their ideas completely wrong and they don't want to hear it. And so they turn off the comments. They don't want to have, and by the way, these are the people that, we need to have a national conversation about this, a national conversation about that, yada, yada, yada. Okay. But you turn off your comments and you shoot the guy that wanted to have the conversation. Got it. And yeah, this has radicalized a lot of people just in the last 2 weeks. So if it might just become a self-fulfilling prophecy from the left. Trump's an authoritarian. It's like, dude, you guys ushered this in. You did everything you could to create the environment where any of your opponents would support Donald Trump just going full on authoritarian. So, and it's really hard to blame them for feeling that way. When you see one of you're a huge Charlie Kirk fan or something, and you identify with him, whatever, you see him get murdered, you see that girl getting fucking murdered on the train, you keep seeing, these guys have been in and out of prison 10, 15, 20, 30 fucking times, and they come out there and they rape somebody or they kill some more people. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just done. I'm done playing this game. And if we have to get this, maybe they consider Donald Trump a benevolent dictator to come in and clean things up. So be it. The idea that they would have been better off under like a Kamala Harris or something. I mean, dude, I know it seems like a million years ago, but 2020, 2021, but the level of censorship that was going on was insane. I mean, like I said, they took down our YouTube channel. We had like 300 people in it. It was up for like a week and a half. They took it down. So anyway, we're kind of way over time here. I know you got a heart out. Is that it for today?
Yeah, pretty much. That was all the important stuff. There was some other dumbass shit, but dumbass shit can always wait till later.
Yeah, I mean the shithole Chicago stuff just keeps piling up. I mean, every week we could just do an entire podcast dedicated to just retarded Chicago stuff. Maybe that'll be a spin-off. I don't know. And Brian Stelter's been on there giving his retarded.
If I end up having my surgery at the end of next week and get my shit fixed, then maybe that can be what you do on Friday, is just do a whole shithole Chicago on your own.
Yeah. I'll need the song though. I don't think I have the song anymore.
It's on here.
Okay. I don't know how to. You'll have to show me how to find all the music.
I'll teach you.
Yeah, Eric's. I mean, we just had all the usual suspects giving their just awful take. Van Jones, Brian Stelter, Eric Swalwell.
Stelter was exceptionally retarded.
I can't believe they brought him back, dude. How did he weasel his way back in? It really is something. It really is something. But you can also just tell, based on the people that are having like these huge reactions and who they are, that you're on the right side of things. If Eric Swalwell, Brian Stelter, Van Jones, Ilhan Omar, what's that other chick's name that you played at the top of the show?
Rashida Tlaib,
AOC, Chuck Schumer, like all these people, if they're upset about it, it was probably a good thing that happened. That should be some sort of rule of thumb there. Yeah, the Stelter thing, that is just mind-boggling. I don't know, like they fired him and then they brought him back to do the exact same horrible shit that he was doing before. And he's just got the worst takes on everything. But I mean, if all these people were subject to market forces, like true market forces, we might not have any content for the show. So, yeah, I guess that'll do it for this week. Another fucking wild, dude. Every week is just getting crazier and crazier. It's only September. The Jim Cramer of life. Yeah. Well, Jim Cramer's got a book out about how to invest for those of you that are interested. Imagine trying to promote that as Jim Cramer. I saw his post today. He's like, I don't own any individual stocks, but I teach you how to make money in this book or something. It's like, dude, him not being able to own individual stocks was like the greatest gift to his bank account ever. Like he would have been bankrupt so long ago if he could buy individuals.
His bank watched his show and they're like, oh no, we're not letting him invest fucking anything. Like lock that shit down.
Yeah. He's like, oh yeah, he's not allowed to own individual stocks because he can fucking pump them up on his show. Except that everything he talks about on his show fucking tanks immediately. Oh, it's great. Anyway, yeah, that book's out there if you want to learn what not to do, I guess. I mean, it's as valuable as somebody who knew what they were talking about teaching you what to do. Just do the exact opposite of what he says, and you'll be good to go. But yeah, that'll do it for this week. Are we doing a happy hour tonight?
I'm at work.
I think I'm supposed to. Today's the night, right? I think so. Last week we didn't do one, did we?
I don't think so. I don't remember. Last Friday was really busy at work, and I missed pretty much everything.
Yeah, I'll do one. I'll set it up. 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. We can shoot the breeze about all this stuff, and I don't know, maybe talk about some funny stuff. I mean, the Kimmel thing's kind of funny.
I think it's very funny.
Yeah. I mean, it is comeuppance, and we do love some comeuppance over here at the Peddling Fiction Podcast. So thank you so very much for listening. Hope to see some of you guys tonight, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'll send that email out. And the rest of you guys, at least I will be back on Tuesday. Maybe Justin will. We'll see. And until then, you know what to do. Just keep on peddling that so-called fiction. Peace.